Hi guys. So I know it's been a minute since we've chatted. I kind of wanted to take the time to reconnect with you guys. I had kind of backed off making videos for a little while. Time constraints and some other things were kind of getting in the way of that, and so I wasn't prioritizing that. But I kind of feel like maybe I need to again, and especially times are hard for you, a lot of you guys, and without us physically being able to, you know, talk to you guys and listen and help out, I feel like maybe it's important that at the very least I can, offer some spells and some counseling through my videos to kind of, you know, help you guys when you need it. And, counseling's probably not the right word, but just friendly support and just kind of us being each other's shoulders. So I know that, October is hard. It's a month where, a lot of great things are happening. It's spooky season, and so we're all excited, but also winter is starting to set in, and so you guys are experiencing some losses and some stresses. The looming holidays, Christmas, that kind of thing, are coming up. Yule, for those of us who practice. And so a lot of concerns about finances and stuff are lurking. And it's just really a stressful time of year. While, we want to be happy and joyful and celebrate, our ancestors and celebrate, fellowship with each other, we get caught up in, the trap of, oh no, all of these horrible things are happening and we're stressed out about them. So we're here for you guys. And I'm going to maybe give you guys some prosperity spells to kind of help offset some of the worries. And, I'm just going to kind of offer support. You guys can always comment and, message and stuff if you just kind of, need that. And I'm still available for tarot readings. I can do them this way, do a video and then send it to you. Or we can chat over Messenger while I do it, and I send you pictures of the cards. And my rates are still the same. I haven't raised them or anything. So you guys can still, affordably get that advice and that support that way. In addition to these videos and just my personal support as your friend. Okay? For myself, I backed off a little bit because I kind of had some discouraged, feelings going on. I felt like, maybe I wasn't, following my path like I should be because, we had to, relocate the physical store and we haven't found a location yet. So I thought, well, maybe that's the universe trying to tell me that I'm not on the right path. But I don't think that's it. I think when things are, right, I think that path will manifest. I think right now the universe is just trying to protect me from setting myself up for failure again, and I respect that. In the meantime, I think that having an online presence and talking to you guys this way is probably just as healthy and supportive as it was when we were in a small town physical location. And it's come to my attention through some actions from some other people that me as a witch really gets on a lot of people's nerves. And I use the word witch, which in and of itself bothers a lot of people. And, if I'm getting on these particular people's nerves bad enough that they need to talk about me behind my back, then what I'm doing is probably the right thing. People don't have to talk bad about you and try to ruin your reputation if they're not worried or intimidated by what you're doing. So rather than be a weaker version of myself and a quieter version of myself, I've decided to amp it up and be me on a larger scale And part of that means coming back and doing the videos consistently and communicating with you guys consistently. Um, I'm not a leader or anything, and sometimes I'm really lousy at conveying my feelings, but I am a companion with you guys in this journey. You know, we're not a church. We're a, loose fellowship of people who share belief in something that's not, the quote unquote norm. It used to be, but, in today's world, it's not the quote unquote norm. And we're all fighting the stigma of being, outsiders. And so we're a group in that aspect that, we have each other's backs against that kind of hardship and the, outside world being an unkind and not very, good place. And so I'm not trying to lead anyone, but I am trying to offer support, ideas, and, try to be here, and present with you guys while you guys go through your journeys too. I'm not, it's not a coven, not really. You know, I consider myself a high priestess of Anubis, but I'm not leading a coven in that, although I am considering having some, gatherings and things here, loose kind of gatherings, nothing formal, but we'll see if that progresses to anything. Um, right now I don't have the household necessarily for a lot of that. We kind of live the tiny house life while we save up for something bigger and better. So it's hard for me to have guests with those constraints. But I know some of you guys are very understanding of those circumstances, so maybe we can work around them. We'll just see. In the meantime, this is like having you guys here, in the room with me. So we're going to, work on it this way instead. And, I'm sorry it has been so long since we've had a chance to connect and chat. And I'm going to try to be better at connecting. I am, believe it or not, an introverted person, so these kind of things are hard for me. And I am definitely going to screw up. I'm going to say things that some of you guys don't agree with. None of it's meant in an ugly way. None of it's meant to hurt anyone. And if I do, I apologize in advance. I'm working through this whole human experience thing in my flesh prison just the same as you guys are. And we all make mistakes and we all grow from those mistakes. So, just go ahead and anticipate that I'm not perfect, and I don't anticipate wanting to be perfect. But I do want to be a good person and a just and fair person. So, I'm going to strive towards that with my videos. So if, you disagree, and I'm not talking about, opinion disagreements. I'm talking about, fundamental right and wrong kind of things. Because we can disagree on what time of the year is best for this spell or that spell. And that's okay because, witchcraft is a very, and, for those of you who's uncomfortable with me even using the word witchcraft, magic, spell work, whatever, however you address it. I personally call it witchcraft because I feel like I'm reclaiming the word witch from, its derogatory origins. However, for those of you who are uncomfortable with the W word, that in and of itself is, a disagreement that it's okay for us to have, and we can still partake in each other's company and, just kind of it's okay if you're a little uncomfortable when growth is happening. It's just, it's when we disregard people as human beings, then it becomes a problem. So, opinions are one thing. Fundamental right and wrong is another. And I'm going to try really hard to be as inclusive as I can. And again, you guys, some of you may not agree with the verbiage I use. Some of you guys might feel one way or another way, and you may do your spell work one way or another way. You may work with a deity that's different, and that all of that's fine. Um, I'm kind of an eclectic, independent practitioner. I don't follow a set of rules. A lot of you do follow the Wiccan Rede and the Rule of Three, and that's wonderful that you have those structure and those guidelines to follow, and I support that completely. Me as a practitioner, um, I sort of feel that, before we put the Wiccan Rede into words necessarily, there were kind of laws of the universe in place before that even. And rather than, put it into the whole, law of three or any of that, I just kind of do the whole be a good person and, try not to be a poopy head. That's not the actual verbiage I would use if I were to put it into writing. But, every religious doctrine has some form of treat others as you would wish to be treated. Every one of them does. And so for me, that's basically the doctrine I follow, is try to treat others in the way I would like to be treated. And in some cases, I may do workings that you guys don't necessarily agree with, because in some cases I feel that if I was in another person's shoes, I would want to be corrected from my behavior, and that maybe sometimes people need a gentle correction. And, that's not necessarily curse work per se, but maybe hey, let this person realize that they're doing harm and help them to find a different path kind of workings. I may sometimes do some of those. Or, open another opportunity for someone when they're in my way, in my path, so that they can find a path that's more suitable for them, and stop blocking the road for others because they're angry that they're stagnant. So things like that may not be on some of your menus are kind of on mine, and they're sort of, they would be considered quote unquote gray, but I don't practice like, love magic where I force someone to fall in love with you or any of that kind of stuff. That to me is a free will issue. And I know it's kind of a gray area because, technically so are some of the other things. So again, witchcraft is one of those things that, because it's not under a central church doctrine of some kind, there are different, viewpoints, and that's okay. I don't have to practice the same way you do, and I support the way you practice. If you are, hoodoo, voodoo practitioners, and you do curse work, or if you're Wiccan and you are the lightest, fluffiest, sweetest version of pagan that there possibly is, I support both of you, and I support both of your paths, as long as your paths bring you peace, and as long as, you are attempting to treat others with respect, and you're considering your actions and holding them to a moral standard, whatever that moral standard is, then I support you. I don't support, ruining someone just because they happen to be different or other. To me, that's what certain organized religions are doing to us, and that's not cool. So, if you're following that path, if you're following a path where you're oppressive towards, someone because of their race or gender or something like that, I can't get behind that either. So, if I offend you, if I hurt your feelings, if I say something that you completely disagree with and are turned off by, that's okay. Maybe I'm not the person for you. There's a lot of pagans and witches out there making videos, so I'm sure you can maybe find someone who is more in line with your views. But for those of you who do want to join me on this journey, I'm grateful to have you, and I ask for you to be a little bit patient with me, because this isn't natural for me. I'm, kind of old-fashioned, anachronistic, and so it's hard for me to get with the modern times and to be a modern person. Definitely not a modern witch. I'm kind of old-fashioned-y. So, I'm trying here, guys. So bear with me. But for those of you who are willing to put up with all of this, welcome aboard. So now that I've said all that and I've wasted, almost 15 minutes of your life that you'll never get back, I'm gonna kind of give you a present in return. So you guys have heard me talk about acorn magic before, and right now it's the perfect time of year for that because there's acorns everywhere. I just finished picking a bunch of them up off of a car outside because we have a lot of trees, and the trees are forever, gifting us with leaves and seeds and things. So I went out there and I kind of cheated and I gathered up a bunch of acorns and leaves off of one of the cars. So I'm going to show you. I have kind of this little, and watch out guys, because those of you who are motion sensitive, I don't want to make y'all seasick. But as you can see, I took my leaves and my acorns and I kind of organized them in a shape that was pleasing to me. From my side of the table, it looks kind of like a Thanksgiving turkey because I was thinking gratitude when I made it. From you guys' side, goodness knows what it looks like. Oh, sorry guys. I know my hand's in your way. There we go. So, when you do yours, just kind of pick a shape that's pleasing to you. Something that's going to, be comfortable for you. Like I said, in this case, I was thinking about gratitude because it's turkey season, and, well, I don't necessarily enjoy, eating a lot of turkey or anything, and, I kind of like them as animals and pets. A lot of people associate this season with, we're going to eat turkey. I associate it with thankfulness and fellowship, but I do associate turkeys with thankfulness because Thanksgiving and turkey are kind of intertwined. At least here stateside. I know some of you guys are in other countries, and so there may be different animals or different vibes that go on for you guys. And for, our indigenous friends who, may have different, thoughts or ideas about this time of year, I just encourage you to use natural materials. Put them in a pattern that is comforting or brings comfort to you, whether that's a turkey, whether it's a medicine wheel, whatever it is that's symbolic to you. Organize them in a place where you can get to them. And, acorns are luck, and certain leaves of certain trees are, lucky or prosperous this time of year. And so I have mine organized, like I said, in a symbol that reminds me of thankfulness and gratitude. Because in order to receive gifts, you have to be willing to be grateful for them. So I'm practicing, pre-gift gratitude. But I feel that, maybe the universe will send me some blessings and, send me some things that I need in my life. She's already, kind of sent me the important message that I need to, come back to my community and be more open about my spell work and my magic to educate others. So that's been a gift. So I've already received something to be grateful for. But anyway, take your acorns and your leaves and organize them in a pattern that's pleasing to you. If you have a green candle in your house, you can take a green candle and carve either, 4-leaf clovers or money symbols into it. If you have no green candles, it's okay to use white and just carve, the word prosperity or money, happiness, health, whatever it is you're trying to bring into your household, carve those things into your candle. Again, if you've got green, great, because green reminds us of prosperity, money, that kind of thing. But if you don't have green, again, the white will work. Also, yellow's a good correspondence for joy. So yellow will work fine too if you're trying to bring joy and happiness, and a little bit of financial stability would bring you joy, then use your yellow candle instead. It's more about what intention you were putting into it. So go ahead and take, an old ballpoint pen or one of those little picks you get to pick the insides of pecans out. You can use one of those. Whatever you have handy, a toothpick works great even. And kind of carve some of what you're looking for into your candles. You can, if you happen to have string around, you can wrap a little bit of green string, if you're using a white candle or a yellow candle, a little bit of green string maybe around the base of the candle, like thread. Sewing thread works fine, and not a lot of it. And make sure it's towards the base of the candle, so that as your candle burns down and that thread might catch fire, it's on a fire safe kind of dish. Don't put it towards the top, because sometimes that stuff falls off. I would encourage the same thing if you guys, I know some of you like to write your spells down and wrap them around your candles as they burn. That's perfectly okay. Just try to make sure you put them towards the base of the candle, so that as they burn, the char paper and the ash isn't going places where it could catch your home on fire. As someone who, again, does the tiny house thing, I'm very conscious about fire safety, and I would encourage you guys to be too. But anyway, so take a candle. If you've got a little bit of sewing thread in a corresponding color, wrap a little bit around the base of it while kind of saying out loud what you want the universe to bring you. Go ahead, and when you know you have time to watch those candles and babysit them, light the candles while they're around your arrangement you have of, your nuts and leaves and things, and kind of let them burn down. For me, the spell I'm using for this particular working is, let's see here. I'm trying to remember my exact wording because I don't have it in front of me. I think it was peace, love, prosperity, love eternally. With one hand, I gather the things that I need to draw to me. With the other hand, I let go of things that no longer serve. As I will, and it harm none, let this working be done. And you guys, of course, can use whatever wording you feel is appropriate. And for those of you who like to write it down and tie it to your candle, that's cool. For those of you who just like to write it down and have it near your working, that's okay too. Personally, for me, it's enough to usually say it out loud. I do write it down to put it in my book of shadows so that I have it for later. But for those of you who, have a more digital mindset, that's perfectly okay too. Again, spell work is about what you're putting into it, and not, necessarily what someone else is doing. It's meant to be adaptive. So you guys take that wording and that energy and adapt it to what you need and you require for your household to make it through this season. So when your candles have burned down and they go out, if you have to leave for something, it's okay to snuff them out. I prefer not to blow them out because that sends the energy out in the universe. But, if you don't have a snuffer, you can use a shot glass, you can use a coffee cup, whatever, to just kind of snuff them out and then relight them again. And, just kind of say, hey, I'm having to pause this, but I'm going to, come back to it. And when you come back to it, you can, re-say the chant as you light your candles or whatever to kind of, unpause your spell work. Because sometimes emergencies happen and we just don't have a choice. We gotta leave, and we can't leave candles burning. So, it's okay to snuff them if you need to. But once they're burned down and, the spell has had a chance to kind of settle in, you'll take your acorns and you'll take any ash, any leftover candle or anything, and you'll put them in a paper envelope, preferably nothing plastic. Try to use biodegradable materials. And I would encourage you, if you're in like a wooded area, just kind of take that, outside and return those materials to nature. If you're in a place where you have to bury your spells, you can. I personally, because I live in a wooded area, it's okay for me to, fold up my envelope real neatly and kind of tuck it into a knothole of a tree or something. And nature, biodegrades it herself, because his leaves would be outside biodegrading anyway. And so with the acorns, the only thing you're adding to it is maybe a little bit of wax and some paper, and those are biodegradable as well. For those of you who have other suggestions of, how you return your spells to earth, please, leave us some comments and some ideas. But I give the materials back to nature, and I thank her for her bounty. Now, if you're looking to end a spell, put it in the dirt. you bury it and you tell the universe, you know, I want this to end. But with a spell like this, I wouldn't necessarily encourage you to bury it unless you absolutely have to. Um, I wouldn't encourage you to put it in moving water, because that's kind of the same thing. If you don't have a place to bury it, you put things in moving water because it carries it away. But in this case, you want it to stay near you and near your household. And, you know, if you don't have a wooded area, but it's okay for you to put things like in the base of, you know, your house, near, like, you know, your basement, or, you know, your crawl space or whatever, you know, put it there. It's perfectly okay. But you kind of want to keep the spell nearby while still returning those pieces of nature to nature. And make sure you thank nature. And if you get the manifestation you were hoping for, if prosperity manifests even in small ways, don't forget to thank the universe, thank your higher powers, thank whoever. And you can do that by offering up a silver coin in a space that, you know, your altar space, or, you know, a wooded space. Or you can, you know, pour out alcohol or booze or whatever it is that your gods, you know, partake in. But just remember, even if it's just as simple as saying, I acknowledge that I've received a gift and thank you. Sometimes that's enough. But it's important when asking for prosperity and asking for things to go better for you, that you also acknowledge and practice gratitude when it does happen. And I know a lot of you are like, oh, I don't tell my gods thank you. Well, why not? You would tell your grandma thank you if she gave you a gift. You would tell, you know, someone you loved. So it's okay to say thank you. Your gods aren't your slaves or your servants. They deserve you to acknowledge that they've done something kind for you. So say thank you. Um, and again, we may differ on that. I know a lot of people do. But for me, you know, it's a gift. And when I receive a gift, I practice gratitude, whether that's human or something beyond the human reasoning. I want to say, thank you, I appreciate this gift. So even if that's all you do, I feel like that's an important step. But again, your workings are going to be tailored to how you know, do your spell work. So anyway, hopefully, you know, you guys, this will, you know, kind of help out with some of the things you guys have going on. And again, you know, it's about just taking the time. And, you know, if you have specific, oh, I only do these spells on this time of the moon, that's cool. For me, I improvise a lot because, you know, scheduling very often doesn't allow for me to have the luxury of, you know, on this exact time or this exact date, I'm doing this exact thing. So I improvise a lot when it comes to my timelines. But whenever you're comfortable, you know, to do the spell and you have time to set up for it, that's when I would encourage you to do it. Whether that's a specific moon phase, a specific day, or, you know, a holiday of a specific, you know, god or saint that you follow. Alright, guys, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed the chat. I hope. We'll see. And I hope to be joining you more often with more information similar to this. So thanks for tuning in, and thanks for sticking with me. For those of you who are new, thanks for coming. And again, if you have questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comments, and we'll try to, you know, get back to you when I see them. Alright, guys. Love, light, happiness, and joy, and blessings be to you. Alright. Bye now.